Hunting human lives. Who is killing young girls and boys? And why? Don't miss it. Clairvoyants investigate a terrifying series of deaths and uncover those connected to them. This is Psychic Investigations, only real and astonishing stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate high-profile criminal cases and unexplainable supernatural phenomena. Marina Bendeberia was 17 years old. She lived in a small Ukrainian village. That summer, she finished high school, received her diploma, and celebrated graduation. These are the last images, filmed 2 months before the tragedy that took this beautiful girl's life.
The official cause of death was a traumatic brain injury. According to the police report, Marina Bendeberia died in what they classified as an accident. She was riding a bicycle, apparently borrowed from someone in the village. During the ride, she fell, hit her head, and sustained a severe head trauma that led to her death.
Marina had been preparing to enter university. She danced in a school troupe and dreamed of becoming a choreographer. That day, she asked her mother for permission to visit a friend in a nearby town. Her friend was also named Marina, and also 17. They had been close since childhood, even after the other Marina moved to a city 40 kilometers away, but the two never lost touch.
They went to the sea together, to the pond in summer, the orchard, had picnics.
At 10 a.m., Marina set off to visit her friend. As usual, she took the commuter train. Her friend met her at the station, and the girls decided to head to the river. The heat that day was unbearable.
At 10:10, I called my daughter to ask how she was doing. She said, "Mom, I'll call you back once we get to the river."
Svetlana called again around 2:30 p.m., but her daughter's friend picked up. She was talking incoherently, clearly anxious, and then she said something that nearly made the mother lose consciousness.
She fell off the bike, hit her head, but everything was fine.
The call dropped. Minutes later, Svetlana's phone rang again. It was her daughter's number, but the voice on the line didn't belong to her child. It was a woman she didn't know.
It was a nurse. She said, "From your voice, I can tell you've already been told."
As it turned out, by that time, Marina was already in the local hospital, in the ICU. Svetlana rushed there without delay.
On the way, I kept thinking I'd find her awake because no one told me she was already unconscious.
Svetlana insists that Marina's right arm, shoulder, and hand were covered in abrasions and bruises, and there were other injuries as well.
Her temple was crushed, her skull base was fractured, and all the blood vessels were damaged.
Doctors performed 3 craniotomies on the girl, but they gave no hope that Marina would ever regain consciousness.
Marina Bendeberia died in the intensive care unit. The cause of death was an intracranial hemorrhage.
I was in the room with her. The monitor started beeping. Her heart stopped. I grabbed her hand, but there was no pulse.
While Svetlana fought to save her daughter's life, there was no time, strength, or opportunity to investigate the circumstances that led to the fatal injuries.
A police officer asked me, "Did she ever regain consciousness?" I said, "No, she didn't." So he never had the chance to take her statement.
Grief-stricken, Svetlana was told that her daughter died after hitting her head in a bicycle fall, but she never believed that version. She is convinced Marina was murdered, but by who and why?
I don't know who killed her.
What shocked Svetlana most was that, according to the official forensic report, Marina's head injury was caused by a blow from a blunt object. The moment she learned this, she called her daughter's friend, the one who was with her on the tragic day of the... But the girl offered no explanation and hung up the phone.
She didn't say anything about what happened there.
No matter how many times Svetlana tried to find out what had happened that day, her daughter's best friend refused to talk. What's more, the clothes Marina had been wearing were never returned to her mother. Svetlana is convinced they might hold key evidence that her daughter was murdered.
They never returned her clothes back.
the grieving mother repeatedly appealed to the police, begging them to reopen the case and investigate the real circumstances of Marina's death. But all she ever got were excuses. Law enforcement insists no one killed the girl.
We did consider the version that the girl might have been murdered.
Police suspected that Marina's friends might have been involved in her death.
During questioning of the young men and the girl who were there, they all stated that no conflict had taken place.
The police ruled it an accident, and so Svitlana was left alone with her grief, her only remaining hope to discover what really happened and whether someone was truly responsible for her daughter's death now rests in the hands of those with supernatural abilities.
I would like to ask for help from Jana Shulakova and Serhiy Kolesnichenko.
I'm seeing something horrifying. It's as if someone attacked her from behind, grabbed her by the neck, and that's it. After that, only darkness. She lost consciousness. For some reason, through this photo, I'm seeing an overlay, like another girl's image on top. There's so much blood, and the neck, it feels like someone cut her head off. It's horrifying.
I'm seeing the image of a man running. It's a dark street, and behind him, it's like a pack, a pack of rabid dogs chasing him, attacking and tearing him to shreds. Another image is coming through. I see two teenagers. They're holding something, maybe a stick. They're playing with it. It kind of resembles hockey. But they're playing hockey with a human head.
To make sense of these visions, the clairvoyants travel to the village where Marina lived. Her mother is waiting for them there.
Hello.
Hello?
Thank you for coming. I need you to help me figure out what happened.
We'll do our best. If possible, we'd like to go to the place where it all happened.
30 minutes later, the clairvoyants and Svitlana arrive at the location of the tragedy. The area is difficult to reach by vehicle, so they walk there.
I'm being pulled this way. I see the girl right here.
According to the official police version, Marina was fatally injured right at the spot where the clairvoyant is now standing.
In that moment, I felt something near me, like an energy form, a phantom. But I didn't mention it to the mother, not to frighten her. Ugh. It's like someone just smacked me in the head, like with a bat or something.
According to the forensic report, Marina suffered a traumatic brain injury caused by a blunt object. It's possible that she was indeed struck with something heavy.
Quick movement.
A bicycle or something like it. There were about 4 people. It seems they were coming down from above. I think one of them was the friend, 2 boys. The boys most likely were older.
It turned out that Marina and her friend were heading to the river with 2 local guys. One was 18, the other 21, both university students. And oddly, neither of them wanted to speak with Marina's mother, or with us.
But why are the people who were with Marina on that tragic day refusing to talk? Why are they avoiding all questions? Could they somehow be involved in her death?
There's such a feeling of fear around this. That child was utterly terrified of something.
Your daughter pulled slightly ahead, picking up speed. The others fell behind. Her friend was at the back. Even behind the boys, I'd say.
Serhiy, she's not running away from them.
No, she's not. Wait,
She's riding with them. It's friendship. The card of search and location.
wait, someone older? He must have seen something.
He's about 50 years old.
We questioned many people on that street and did find a man around 50. He claims he saw a girl, matching the victim's description, ride past his gate first. About a minute later, he saw a girl returned and 2 boys.
Some kind of car.
A man in a car. Who was that man?
What car did the clairvoyants see? Could Marina have been hit by a car?
The injuries on Marina Bendabaria's body weren't consistent with those caused by a vehicle impact.
The kids who were with her started yelling. They were searching for a car. They found one. They ran up to it, begging the driver for help.
It turned out a local man did drive the victim to the hospital. He said Marina's friends didn't want to wait for an ambulance. His car happened to be nearby, and he was heading out anyway. So, of course, he agreed to help.
Those boys who were riding bikes with Marina, they had nothing to do with her death, because they only saw her when she was already lying on the ground, unconscious.
It's hard to imagine what Marina's friends went through, being right there when she was injured. Her family says the teenagers now avoid talking about what happened. The trauma is simply too painful.
Some kind of otherworldly entity killed her. The spirit that pushed Marina was filled with rage. It had been hunting her for a very long time.
I feel like I'm wrapped in barbed wire. That's what she felt in the moment right before her death.
At first, I wasn't sure was it a spirit, a phantom, or something demonic. The girl is screaming. This is exactly where she fell. Right here.
The wheel jerks sharply. She's thrown off the bike, then the blow to the head.
It was a blunt strike against a pipe.
Events could have happened exactly as the clairvoyant describes. If Marina was riding and suddenly terrified by something, it's entirely possible she lost control. Hitting gravel, she may have lost balance, fallen, and suffered a traumatic brain injury. The pipe may well have been the blunt object experts referred to.
It felt like a shove in the back from some otherworldly force. That's how it killed her.
Only after Marina's death did Svetlana remember a strange dream she'd had before the tragedy, one she hadn't thought much of at the time, but it turned out the dream was prophetic.
I had a dream. A wedding. I didn't see a bride or any guests. Nothing. But I felt there were so many people. And somehow, it was about Marina. I just didn't pay attention to it.
I felt that this strange entity's main place of presence was where we'd already been. The village where deceased the girl lived. That's why we had to return there immediately.
Half an hour later, the psychics and Svetlana returned.
I saw the spirit of a girl, the same age as Marina, just as beautiful. She was calling to us. She wanted to tell us something.
Something's pulling us there. It felt like someone was slowly, quietly fading away, losing awareness of the world around them. The pain coming from that yard. It was so overwhelming we couldn't bring ourselves to enter.
It turned out the house near where the psychics were working belongs to a family who lost their daughter 8 years ago. She was 17. The cause of death, brain cancer. To this day, her parents struggle to speak about it.
The spirit of the girl kept pointing to her head, as if giving us a clue. Svetlana's daughter died from a severe head injury, and the other girl, she had brain cancer. All the trauma seems to center around the head. Oh my God. Serhi, do you feel that? The head is separated from the body.
Where are you going, Jenna? Jana, wait.
That's when things got terrifying. A headless female phantom appeared and took me by the hand, pulling me with her.
Their sensations led the clairvoyants to a nearby body of water.
This place feels familiar. I saw it when I first looked at Marina's photo. This is where I saw the girl's head. It was like someone attacked her from behind, grabbed her by the neck. So much blood. It felt like her head was cut off. It was horrific. As if they beheaded her and threw her body away like garbage.
We checked the clairvoyant's words, and she was absolutely right. 13 years ago, in this very village, a 17-year-old girl was brutally murdered. The killer was a fellow student. He beheaded her and threw her head into this same pond.
A student killed another student. Cut her head off.
To this day, locals still recall the gruesome murder with horror. As it turned out, the killer kept animal skeletons in his home.
His room was full of bones and skeletons, all kinds of animals.
Locals here say he wasn't mentally stable and wanted to turn her head into an ashtray.
He needed a skull from a young person. Turns out he had been hunting for a long time.
It's enough to drive anyone mad. After the girl's death, it came to light that this monster had been following her every day. And one terrifying day, he carried out his twisted plan.
Most likely, he threw the head into the pond to speed up decomposition. Bodies break down faster in water, but he didn't get away with it. He was caught.
Your daughter suffered a fatal head injury. The other girl died of a brain tumor, cancer.
Yes,
It's always the head.
the head again.
The girl across the street was beheaded.
Why are there 3 girls on the same street? And
This wasn't random. It feels like a curse.
a group, maybe 2 or 3 people, aged between 17 and 25.
Do you see a vehicle? The boys died in a traffic accident. They both suffered head trauma.
That must have been around 30 years ago.
They were just kids. One had just come back from the army. The other was maybe 18. They were simply walking along the road. Cars passed through. No accidents happened.
I don't know how it happened, but both were killed instantly.
One of them had his head torn off.
A terrifying story. But how does this gruesome incident with these 2 boys connect to the death of Svetlana's daughter?
Before coming here, I had a vision. 2 young men playing hockey with something that looked like a human head. These were the same young men who later died in a traffic accident. That head they were playing with, most likely they found it somewhere. And that act led to their death.
Locals confirm this eerie tale. It happened years ago. The same boys who later died in the accident had once played with a human skull they found as children.
They mocked it, scared girls with it.
And they paid the price.
But how does any of this connect to the tragic death of Marina Bendebaria?
Then suddenly it felt like something pushed me in the back, and I saw the spirit of a man. The same man whose skull those local boys had played with. It's his spirit that's been killing and is behind the deaths of the young girls from this street. He's the one who took Marina.
We had to return to that street immediately. It became clear that young girls around 17 who live there are in danger. For some reason, this spirit still hasn't found peace, and he's searching for a new victim. It's a male energy.
He's restless.
Then I had another vision, one I'd seen before, when I first worked with Marina's photo. A man running from a pack of dogs. They catch up with him and tear him apart. Then I realized I was seeing the death of a man who was brutally murdered. The dogs in my vision were actually people. They killed him in a torturous way, cut off his head, and buried it in the local grove. Later, real dogs dug it up, and And that's how the skull surfaced.
Local residents hadn't heard of anything like that. But that's not surprising. If the killers covered their tracks well, he could still be listed as missing. And if dogs did find the skull, it would make perfect sense.
But how is this man's death connected to the fact that young girls have died from head injuries or brain illnesses?
A girl, around 17, was the reason he died.
He was a man who tried to make money through illegal means. He stole a large shipment of goods. People recommended by his 17-year-old girlfriend helped him with the theft. But when it came time to split the loot, he didn't want to share. He was caught and killed. This happened about 60 years ago.
The spirit of that man became tied to this street through the skull the boys had played with. The same boys who later died. But this spirit still hasn't found peace and is searching for a new victim. He will definitely seek revenge. He'll attach himself to situations similar to those that surrounded his death. The people involved, their age, their gender.
So this is all connected to our street.
Yeah.
This spirit needs to be laid to rest, otherwise the deaths will continue.
The murder of a young nurse. The maniac wanted his crime to remain hidden in the casket with his victim's body. But the woman's spirit will reveal the truth. The psychics will investigate the murder of a young Ukrainian nurse. Her name was Alina Diakova. She was 23. And this is her last photo.
Alina always dreamed of being a medic. She enjoyed working at the hospital.
Alina's grandmother was the last person who saw her alive. On her way home, Alina stopped in her village to visit her and bring her medications. After that, she hurried home to give a dripper to her mother, who suffers from a stomach ulcer.
I dialed her and spoke to her on the phone.
At 8 p.m., Alina went to the bus stop. The two villages are 4 kilometers apart, so Alina was supposed to be home 20 minutes later.
I came home and expected her to be back any moment. Then I called her and heard her crying and shouting, "Mom, help me!" I asked her, "Where are you?" But I only heard, "At the cemetery." And that was it. The line went dead.
The bus linking both villages passes by the local cemetery. But the driver says Alina wasn't among his passengers that night.
There's only one cemetery between the villages, so my husband and I quickly went there by car. I called her, I shouted, I ran, and tried to dial her. I heard the tone, but nobody would answer the phone.
Desperate, the mother called the police, and the law enforcers began the search right away, joined by the locals.
Alina was found 2 days after she disappeared. Her body was lying in the field 5 kilometers from the village Alina had been heading for on her last evening. She was undressed, her wrists and ankles were tied, and a black plastic bag was on her head. The forensic examination concluded that the cause of Alina Diakova's death was a traumatic brain injury. Apart from that, she was beaten badly.
The forensics said her jaw had several fractures.
My husband went to the identification, and my son says it's good I didn't see her.
The victim's cross was found next to her body. Its lace was broken. Most probably, the murderer tore it from the victim's neck.
She helped everyone. She only meant good. Did she really deserve this? Why would somebody do something like that to another person?
All of Alina's personal possessions were with her. That is, it couldn't be a robbery. According to her friends and family, Alina never had conflicts with her friends or colleagues, which excludes the idea that she could be killed as revenge. She wasn't in a relationship at the time of the murder, so it wasn't done out of jealousy. Then the motive remains unclear to date.
I really want to ask for your help.
We need it to be investigated properly, so at least nobody else will be hurt.
The most powerful psychics in our project, Kayal Alekperov and Zhana Shulakova, took up the case.
I have a feeling Alina was put into some kind of casket before she was murdered.
When I asked who the murderer was, my sacred book told me, look for the hand with the cross.
Besides, Alina called her mother from the cemetery. It gives me an idea it could be a ritual murder. The psychic's words can make anyone's hair stand up on their nape. Is Alina really a victim of a bloody ritual? Hold on. My book gave me 2 more cues. The murderer's hand feeds the dog and find the girl who escaped from the beast. Let's go.
Kayal.
It's unbelievable. Kayal Alekperov was almost hit by the car. Fortunately, the driver hit the brakes at the last moment.
Do you want to kill yourself? What happened?
Jana, it was as if I teleported into that terrible evening. Through Alina's eyes, I saw the same car, but it was white. Could the murderer be a driver?
So we need to find a similar car.
The psychics arrive at the house of Lilia, Alina's mother. The victim's family, friends, and colleagues are already waiting for them.
Hello, my name's Lilia. I'm Alina's mother.
I'm Alina's aunt. My name's Natalia.
Thank you so much for coming.
Give me your hands. At that moment, I saw Alina's spirit. I wanted to cry suddenly. For some reason, Alina felt huge guilt toward her grandmother. Grandma, forgive me that I didn't bring the flowers.
Alina died on her grandmother's birthday.
I feel she knew she would die. Not long before it happened, she had a nightmare. It was a prophetic dream.
Yes, she told me of it.
She was running, fleeing from a beast that was trying to tear her apart. What lunar phase was it? Can somebody give me a phone? I need to check it out online. What was the lunar phase? Here, look. Here, the moon was full.
But if it really was a ritual murder, and Alina was killed at the cemetery, then here's a question. How did her body end up 5 kilometers away from the cemetery?
What do we have here? The murderer. He's lonely. He knows her, he sees her. He's interested in her.
My book is telling me that the police detained somebody. Do they really have a suspect?
Well, they really arrested a man quickly. But we doubt it could be him.
Then why did they arrest him?
Because he's an ex-convict and was released recently.
The victim's family think the police had simply detained the first suspect they could find, choosing the ex-convict to close the case quickly so the people would calm down.
He's a thief. Previously, he was sentenced for theft.
Yes, when they found him, he had her phone and earbuds.
The suspect's name is Mikhailo, and he lives in the village not far from which Alina was found. During the search at his house, the police found the victim's mobile phone. This was the reason for his detention.
My book says that Alina had valuable jewelry on her, and it was untouched. It was something in the shape of swallows.
Gold earrings. They were on her.
He took nothing. He didn't even touch the gold.
The old jailbird took the phone but didn't touch the gold. It's really weird.
Mikhailo has a wife and a 13-year-old daughter. But Jana Shulikova claimed Alina's murderer was a lonely man who knew the victim. Mikhailo never knew Alina. All her friends and relatives confirm it.
Did the police make a mistake, and the dangerous murderer is still free? The psychics go to the cemetery, from where, according to her mother, Alina called her. She was brought in a car.
Alina never got into strangers' cars.
She knew the man in the car. I see the car with Alina pull over here. The murderer starts harassing your daughter, grabbing her hands. She realizes she's in danger. and she needs to run. And so, she runs away.
There. She runs, crying and shouting. She takes her phone. She says, "I see crosses." She's going to tell his name, but she's too late. She suffocates. She trailed off no sooner she had inhaled. And then a bump. 1, 2. Blood squirts. There's blood everywhere. She's all beaten so badly.
As an ex-serviceman, I saw a lot of blood and was in many terrible situations. But even at war, people weren't as cruel as this beast who tormented the defenseless woman. To understand who the real murderer was, the psychics go to the site where Alina made her last call to her mother.
Constant buzz in my ears. It's like emptiness.
Are you unwell?
My God, this is awful. She suffered so much. She tries to hide the phone. She's afraid to lose it because she's afraid she won't be found and saved. Oh God, she's shouting out. She's shouting out. She's calling. She's screaming. She's shouting, "Mom!"
I still hear her calling because I heard it over the phone. I can't forget it no matter what I do. She was waiting for me and she was calling me, hoping I would find her.
Different punches and kicks, and one of them is a massive thump, like with a club, or something long, like a pipe. An iron pipe.
A metal pipe. The people who helped with the searching found it here.
There are 2 murder weapons and 2 men. There were 2 of them.
According to Alina's relatives, she spent several years learning martial arts, and she was very fit. As such, she would have probably escaped from one attacker.
If you take the arrested man, he's frail. And she would have easily dealt with him.
She is lying down. She feels very bad, but she's not dead yet.
Alina was taken away from here. The psychics and Alina's family go to the site where Alina's body was found. The representative of the local self-defense unit has also arrived. He was the first to find the body in the field during the search.
She was lying here, like this. The bag on her head was tied with duct tape, and her wrists and ankles were duct taped too.
They put the plastic bag on her head because the murderer was afraid to stain his car's interior with blood. I feel she was undressed.
She was lying like this, naked.
First, I thought that your daughter's murder was of a ritual nature, but now I see the murderers wanted to rape Alina.
By the time of the investigation, the results of the autopsy weren't ready yet, so nobody knew whether Alina had been raped or not. But before the episode aired, we were sent a copy of the autopsy results. According to it, there was sperm in Alina Dyakova's body.
Now, I see the 2 men bring your daughter here in the car.
A cigarette smoldering, smoke rising. He dropped the cigarette and they left.
Indeed, the investigators found a cigarette butt next to Alina's body. It was taken for the examination, and the sample of the saliva found on it was compared to that of Mikhailo, the suspect. They didn't match.
Wait, it wasn't dark then, and the sun was rising. Alina was brought here in the morning.
She spent the whole night in a tiny, enclosed, dirty, dark, and cold room. I smelled dampness. A white house and a small window and a blue frame.
Can you show it? Can you find this house?
I think my gins can show the way. We've got to go straight. There is a cafe or a store next to the house in which they kept your daughter. And I hear a dog barking. Your daughter heard it too before she died. Now turn left. The clairvoyants enter the village. They feel the murderers kept Alina somewhere here. Wait. Here. Is it the store?
Let's get outside.
I feel it was here. This house. This is where Alina was kept before she died. Is anybody home?
I said stop it. Hush. Sit.
Could you tell me, please, who lives here?
Mikhailo used to live here.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking after my friend's home.
This man's name is Dimitro, and he lives next door. Suddenly, the psychics notice the white car in the yard. Alina's murderer drove a white car. Could it be the same car Alina got in on the night of her murder? Why was Mikhailo arrested?
They claim he murdered a girl.
Is it the same Mikhailo?
The suspect?
At that moment, I remembered the cue my book had given me, the hand with the cross. Could it be a tattoo? Tell me, does Mikhailo have a tattoo on his hand?
He does.
Is it a cross?
Yes.
Does this mean the man detained by the police is really guilty? But if the psychics are right, he didn't commit the crime alone. Who is the second murderer? Can we come into the yard to work?
Just a moment. Let me tether the dog.
I feel Alina's energy. This is where she was tied and then raped.
The lid of the casket. Here is your daughter's casket. I can't be in here. I feel sick. I need to get out. It's unbearable.
It was awful to look at the shed, knowing my daughter died in it.
Tell me, do you feed the dog?
Well, yes.
My book tells me the murderer's hand feeds the dog. Did you see Mikhailo that day?
When?
When the young woman was murdered.
Of course I did.
You and he drank.
Do you mean you came to visit him and you drank alcohol together?
I had 2 shots. He invited me in to reconcile.
Tell me, what time were you in this house?
It was 6:30 or 6:40.
In other words, roughly 90 minutes before Alina disappeared, Mikhailo was at home drinking, and Dimitro was with him.
Did he have any other guests? Did you see anybody else?
There were his ex-wife, his girlfriend, and his kids.
All right, so it means you and him were the only men there, right?
Yes.
And you both were in the house, weren't you?
What happened after you had the 2 shots with Mikhailo?
He told me, bro, let's go get more vodka and something to munch.
And you went with Mikhailo to buy more vodka, didn't you?
I didn't want to go with him, so I went home. It was 7:15.
And an hour later, Alina's mother called her to find where she was. It was when she was at the cemetery, trying to flee from her murderers.
Can anybody confirm that?
I live alone.
The detained suspect has a family, but my card showed me that the murderer was lonely. Dimitro lives alone.
But there is no evidence that Dimitro was involved in the murder, and there are no witnesses who could say that he was home at the time. I have one more question. Did you know Alina?
No, I didn't even know her name.
I feel you're lying. You did know her. Your work connected you.
Well, I saw her often. I'm a plumber at the regional hospital. I've worked there for 6 or 7 years, so I saw her there. I saw her quite often, as my job is to check piping in the wards and rooms.
In other words, she knew you, and you knew her. Is that right?
Well, yes.
Are you trying to say you didn't know her name, even though you worked at the same place? I see he's lying.
I wasn't there. I didn't go anywhere. Why are you blaming me?
Dimitro, your reaction is very suspicious. Why are you so nervous? Did anybody blame you for something?
Since the man had no alibi on the night of Alina's death, I carried out my own investigation in relation to him. I asked the villagers, and I was shocked to hear what they told me.
He's not simply aggressive, he's mental.
According to his neighbor, once Dimitro got drunk and attacked another villager who refused to lend him money. Moreover, it turned out that a day before the murder, Dimitro and Mikhailo had a row.
I only know they were drinking together. As far as I know, Dimitro began harassing Mikhailo's stepdaughter. She's about 15, if I'm not mistaken. Her mother was shouting loudly.
This is she, the girl who escaped from the beast.
It's yet another proof that it wasn't a problem for him to attack a defenseless young woman.
We're only saying what we feel. Accusation is the job of the police.
Please press the police. Do anything to make them resume the investigation. Not just one of them has his hands bloodied.
Thank you for responding and helping us.
I am genuinely grateful. Now we know the answers. And we heard the truth we needed to hear.
It's hard to comprehend everything that happened to Alina Diakova. Did a young mother of 2 daughters really commit suicide right at a family celebration? The truth will shock you. The psychics will expose the real killer. In this house in a small Ukrainian village, life seems to have stopped since the mother of the family, 33-year-old Marina Timkovich, was found dead at the doorstep of her own home.
The tragedy occurred on March 8th. Marina Timkovich's body was discovered by her husband, Vasil. The woman wearing a nightgown was lying outside the door of her house. A bloody kitchen knife from her home was found nearby. The cause of death was a stab wound to the heart.
The police concluded that Marina committed suicide. They claim she stabbed herself in the heart.
She loved her children very much, and she would never leave them alone.
We're shocked. They're such a diligent family. They have everything in abundance.
The victim's brother, Volodymyr, remembers the day he lost his only sister well.
I remember her tearful and smiling. She visited us in the morning, and I congratulated her on the International Women's Day.
Marina lived in her own house with her husband, Vasil, and their 2 daughters, 16-year-old Nadia and 9-year-old Angelina. In the evening, the whole family gathered to celebrate. Marina's brother and his wife did not join them and stayed to celebrate at home. All the known details come from Vasil's words.
They laid the table in the kitchen.
She prepared everyone's favorites to please them.
That evening, Vasil's relatives came to the Timkovics for dinner. The hostess stayed to entertain the guests until 10 in the evening, after which she put her younger daughter to bed and went to rest too.
They said she changed and went to bed.
An hour later, Vasil went outside to smoke and found his beloved wife dead. The family called the police.
The investigator examined the scene. It's a private house. No one can enter the yard that simple.
What happened to the loving wife and mother? Why would she commit suicide if she had no problems in the family or at work? It is also puzzling why the woman went outside only wearing a nightgown. It was rather cold that evening, only 2 degrees above zero, and people were still wearing warm clothes. Is it possible that Marina was taken outside by force?
She wanted to live. She wanted to be with us.
The suicide version indeed looks rather strange. The local priest also disagrees with it.
A knife wound 12 centimeters deep. It can't be suicide.
With the permission of the local bishop, I conducted the funeral service anyway.
What kind of strength does one need to stab themselves in the chest 12 centimeters deep? Could Marina really do this herself? To somehow understand the causes of the tragedy, the family hired a lawyer. However, according to him, the police are behaving very strangely and are obstructing an independent investigation.
As a lawyer, I haven't been granted access to the materials to date. Everyone is turning a blind eye.
The police are doing nothing at all.
We are asking the psychics to help us.
Clairvoyant Yaroslava Fedorova took on the investigation of Marina's death. The psychic is already working with the victim's photo.
For some reason, I see a picture of her kneeling, and there's something like a chain around her neck. And next to her, I see a woman with short hair.
The next morning, Olena Kurilova joins the investigation. The psychics share what they have sensed.
A man jumping out of a window is...
Another suicide?
Hold up. Lovers. It's an affair.
Astonishing news. Did Marina really have a lover who committed suicide?
I had a dream of an icon last night, the Last Supper, and I saw Marina sitting at the table. She was surrounded by guests. Next to Marina sat a traitor, just like Judas was next to Jesus.
Does it mean Marina was betrayed? But who betrayed her and how? The psychics go to meet her family, but Marina's husband is currently on a business trip in the Czech Republic.
Hello?
Hello.
My name's Volodymyr. This is Nadia, the daughter of the deceased, and this is my wife, Mariana.
Mariana, pleased to meet you.
Hold this.
Something pushed me right in the shoulder. She's here. Marina. Marina's spirit appeared as soon as we started working. Marina says, thank you for the children. She now calls you mother, Angelina.
Angelina is like my own daughter to me. Right after Marina's death, she asked if she could call me Mom.
The girls no longer have a mother, and their father has to stay away from home for a long time to provide a decent life for his daughters. Currently, Marina's brother, Volodymyr, and his wife, Mariana, care for the sisters.
She says, let her be the mother. She trusts you.
She was a wonderful mother to her children, always doing everything for them.
I see flowers in Marina's hands when she was alive. Red flowers.
She received a gift of a red bouquet.
It turned out that on the day of her death, Marina was given a gorgeous bouquet as a present for March 8th.
What's her husband's name? She loved him a lot.
Her feelings were very strong.
First love for life, and she got married very young.
She was 16.
It's unbelievable. Why would a beautiful woman, a loving mother and wife, stab herself in the heart then?
I see 2 wounds, 2 knives. One is physical, and the other stabs her in the back, like some kind of betrayal. A traitor sat at the table with Marina that evening. That person is related to her death. We need to understand who it is.
Marina, show us. The cards show a love affair between a man and a woman. It's Nadia's father.
And the woman next to her is family.
Marina says it hurts so much, she cries.
A shocking revelation. So, was Marina's life with her husband not so happy after all? Could it be that the unfaithfulness was the reason for the suicide and no one killed Marina? But who is the woman with whom Vasil had an affair?
You all know her.
People said he had an affair with the school principal.
Everyone in the village knew about this principal. She's Angelina's godmother.
Does it mean that Vasil cheated on his wife with the woman Marina trusted so much that she invited her to be her daughter's godmother?
She nurtured a snake in her bosom.
She says she wants us to meet that woman.
The psychics go to the school where Vasil's mistress, Mariana, is the principal.
Hello.
Hello?
The principal won't come out. She doesn't wish to talk to you.
If you're not guilty of anything, you won't need to hide.
Of course.
Their relationship initially was purely professional.
It turned out that 10 years ago, Vasil worked at the school as a manager of the economy, and Mariana was his boss. Perhaps that's when their romance began?
She goes somewhere with him by car.
Yes, they used their car.
I saw them several times. Vasil was giving her a lift in his car.
Many people said they dated, but Marina refused to believe it.
She always defended her family.
Meanwhile, Olena Kurilova notices the school principal at the back entrance.
There was a scandal connected with you and Marina's husband. Did you and him have an affair?
No.
Then why was Marina so insanely jealous?
Yes, Marina was, but we talked. I told her Vasil wanted it, but I refused him because I respected Marina very much.
She didn't lie to me. She indeed never had a love affair with Vasil. However, the cards clearly showed that Marina's husband had someone on the side.
He had someone. I saw him talking on the phone with someone for a long time and texting a lot. Besides, and Marina herself told me, he had another woman. Her name's Olha.
So Vasil did have a mistress, and Marina found out about it?
Marina even said she wanted to send him to work abroad.
Marina understood everything. She sent her husband to work in another country to keep him away from his mistress.
According to the school principal, Vasil went to work abroad and thus broke up with his mistress. But Marina died 6 months later. If she really decided to commit suicide because of her husband's unfaithfulness, why didn't she do it right away?
Marina says, find the mirrored doors.
It's their gate. She died there.
The psychics and Marina's relatives go to the place where the tragedy occurred. Almost all the villagers have gathered near the Timkovich's house.
This is the house where Marina lived, and this is the mirrored gates.
Let me work here.
May I enter the house?
The past. A celebration. They had guests. A couple.
She looks that way. She's alone in the room, and she sees someone staring at her. She runs, but God! There was a knife here.
I see Marina. Marina runs. I see a man. And he meets her, and he seems hug her. Like this. Bam. An iron embraces.
But who is the man who embraced Marina before her death?
I hear a scream and then... You're not going anywhere. You won't say anything. Shut up. Shut up forever. Yaroslava. He killed her. A man. A man's hand with the knife.
What fell there?
We heard a loud bang in the house. A champagne bottle fell.
Wait.
It's incredible. There was no one in the house. There were no drafts or pets.
It was a sign from Marina.
Something is missing there.
Yes, the money is gone.
About $2,000.
So, a significant amount of money disappeared from the house. But why was the case closed as suicide then? Robbery seems to be a plausible motive for homicide.
That person took the money. Sit down, my dear.
Don't cry.
Our detective Katerina Malachenko, along with the lawyer hired by the victim's family, managed to obtain the case materials. The information is shocking.
There are facts that contradict the suicide theory. There were no fingerprints on the knife that killed Marina. She couldn't have stabbed herself and then wipe off the prints.
The project's detective urgently joins the psychic's investigation.
Katerina Malachenko.
Volodymyr.
A traitor sat at the table with Marina that evening.
Do you feel someone leave through the door that night?
Through the front door? No one else left. She went out alone.
Who could murder her then?
If everyone was in the house and no one followed Marina out, then the killer wasn't one of the guests. So, who did it?
I'm going to work with water in front of the mirror. I need to see everything it witnessed.
And I'm going to look through the fire. She draws me here. She stands here by the window, watching. And you know what she sees? Her closest, dearest person flirting with another woman on the balcony. Marina knew her husband was constantly cheating on her. And of course, seeing him talking sweetly to another woman was the last straw.
A knife in the back, a stab from behind.
It seems the family realized who the man could have been sweetly talking to in front of his wife. It was Svitlana, the wife of Vasil's brother. She and her husband came to visit the Timkoviches that evening.
His brother's wife. He said he'd gone out on the balcony to smoke, but before that, he'd smoked in the house. I'm sure of that. He never went outside.
And Svitlana didn't smoke at all. I don't know what they were doing on that balcony.
Our expert decided to meet with Svitlana.
This wasn't suicide.
It's impossible. I'm a witness. I saw it all.
Did you see the moment she drove the knife into her heart?
It was by the gate. She had already changed in her robe.
If this woman is telling the truth, did Marina really kill herself? But then, why were there no fingerprints on the knife? And why was the murder weapon found next to the victim's left hand when she was right-handed? Is it possible that Svitlana's lying and it didn't happen that way?
And then I understood why I'd seen Marina on her knees with a chain wrapped around her neck in the morning. It was a clue. It meant that the woman was completely under her husband's control. Only on the last day of her life did she realize she wouldn't endure this humiliation any longer.
She's showing me. Here, the chain. Did the gold chain break like this?
Once he pushed her, Vasil pushed Marina, and her chain broke.
I told her several times, "My God, Marina, you have huge bruises. Where are they from?" She said she'd fallen, but she was beaten up badly.
Did Vasil, whom Marina loved with all her heart, beat her?
She's shouting, "No, that's it, I'm leaving." And he grabs the knife. I'm almost certain that Marina's husband killed her.
So, was it her husband? You yourself said that no one left the house.
He didn't leave the house.
He jumped out the window. A man jumping out of a window.
Svitlana told me she locked them out on that balcony.
I asked him why she locked the balcony door. He said he didn't know. I think it's because she might have seen something she didn't want to see between Vasil and Svitlana.
It's not high at all. You can simply swing your leg over this parapet and jump onto the boiler room roof.
Sure, you can do that. Do you mean Svitlana also jumped from the balcony?
No, Svitlana stayed on the balcony.
But if Svitlana stayed on the balcony, how could she have seen Marina stab herself? After all, the yard isn't visible from the balcony, as it's on the opposite side of the house.
He thought she would get scared if she saw him with the knife because she was always afraid.
At the table, Vasil smiled like a demon and said, "I will kill you."
We heard him say that when he was drunk. He said, "Would the family forgive me if I killed you?"
He said he was tired of living the way he was living.
Nadia, did you ever see your dad drunk? What was he like? Aggressive.
Yes, he didn't even talk to Mom normally, but he always yelled at her drunk.
She always told me she wanted to keep her family together so the kids would have a father.
She was trying to preserve her family at the cost of her own life. That explains everything. His quick departure and by the way, the money that disappeared from the dresser. Where did it go?
We don't know.
Where? To bribe the cops.
I have almost no doubt that Marina's husband murdered her. He not only killed her, but also made it look like a suicide.
We'd like to thank you for helping us figure this out.
We need to talk to Svetlana because Svetlana is the primary witness.
Svetlana realized we won't drop this case. It will be publicized nationwide, and she might end up in prison. So, on the second attempt, she began to recall slightly different circumstances of Marina Timkovich's death.
Svetlana, did you see the exact moment when she killed herself?
I only saw it when he shouted, "Svetlana, look, there's blood."
Did you witness the moment she did it?
No, I didn't.
After the investigation by the psychics, I and Marina Timkovich's relatives requested 2 independent examinations. Marina couldn't have stabbed herself in the heart. The injuries found on her body are not characteristic of self-infliction.
A horrible murder of a young beauty on Valentine's Day. Don't miss out. The victim's spirit will reveal her murderer and his accomplices. In this episode, the psychics take on an investigation into a horrendous murder. On the 14th of February, 2015, Valentine's Day, a maniac beast took the life of a young Ukrainian beauty, Darina Yakovtsova. She was raped and murdered with inhumane cruelty. The girl was only 21.
The girl's skull was fractured and her face was mutilated with numerous lacerations and penetrating wounds left by something heavy and blunt.
Darina was a late child. The daughter's death became a heavy blow for her parents.
People always tell me, but you have other children, don't you? Of course I do, and I love them, but I don't have my darling Darina anymore.
Darina studied to be an architect and did a part-time job at a cafe. She loved playing the piano, and she had even won several piano contests.
Darina had a piano. I always saw her sit by the window playing the piano.
Darina spent all her vacations and days off in the village where her parents live. On Valentine's Day, she also went there. In the evening, she and her friends went to the local disco.
She didn't return when she was supposed to. I dialed her, but my calls were declined. It repeated 3 times. The next time I called her, her phone was turned off.
The next day, on February 15th, Darina's body was found in a windbreak just 100 meters from her home. Police investigators interrogated everybody who had been with Darina at the disco and seen her before her death. It turned out that at around 2 in the morning, she said goodbye to her friends and left for home.
It's odd, but on the same night, 45 kilometers from the village where Darina's parents lived, another gruesome murder took place.
A woman of 32 was raped and beaten badly. She died from multiple injuries to her vital organs in the intensive care unit of the local hospital.
Is there a maniac on the loose in the area? The law enforcers avoid giving any comments.
You have your own investigation, and we have ours. Let's not hinder each other's work.
We want to find the murderer, and we're asking psychics to help us do it. We simply need it.
The strongest participants of our project, the Azerbaijani psychic Kayal Alikperov and the gypsy clairvoyant Rubina Tsibulska, undertake the case.
This girl appeared in my dream. She told me some strange things. Blood on the document will show the way to the murderer. The man with the fire on his leg is hiding the beast.
I tuned in and saw an image of a gray-haired woman with a half of her face missing.
But what could those visions mean? The psychics arrive at the victim's parents' home, where the worried locals are already waiting for them.
Hello?
Hello.
I sympathize with you as a mother. We will do everything we can.
I need to say a prayer to establish contact with your daughter's spirit. Do you have something that she had at the moment of the death? Something metal?
Yes, we do. Her 2 rings and earrings. She wore them on the day she was murdered.
I feel sharp pain in my head, as if I was stunned with a strong blow. And then I hear snow squeaking, like someone's walking on it.
This is terrible. He's punching her. He's beating her to death, and her face is missing.
Yes, this is what the forensic examination concluded.
She was buried in the closed casket.
What a nightmare. The parents couldn't even say farewell to their daughter.
She didn't see her murderer. He stalked up from behind.
The forensic examination revealed that the initial blow was indeed delivered to the rear of her head. However, it wasn't fatal, as it only caused a momentary shock to the victim, resulting in her fainting. All things considered, it's highly probable Dorina didn't see her murderer.
I see her body being dragged somewhere.
Yes. The forensics found the traces of dragging.
At that moment, the victim's spirit spoke to me. She said, "Dad was around." But how was it possible? I was afraid to even utter my suspicions. Can I have your hand? While she was being murdered, you were near.
While this was happening at night, from 2:30 to 3, Dorina's father was walking to the train station, and he passed by that place. The connection was really deep. I can't tell you how well I could feel her. I thought I could predict anything, but I failed. How could I?
It was very hard to console the grieving mother. Not everyone can understand what she's going through.
And she's pointing at her father. She's showing some pastry or bun or something. Hold on, it's something symbolic. This is what you called her.
Bun.
Bun. I called her Sweet Bun.
It wasn't a commonly known fact that Dorina was our sweet bun. I was taken aback. Nobody could have known it for sure because we never told anyone.
The cards are showing me a young girl, Dorina. A party of friends somewhere in a public place.
Dorina went to the cafe to celebrate Valentine's Day. There were a lot of her friends there.
We need to check the cafe and work there. At the site. I feel we can find the murderer's trace there.
After the tragedy, the cafe isn't working, so the psychics tune in outside it.
I feel somebody look straight into her eyes. The energy is male. It's very negative. This is a young man.
He's saying something bad. Something unpleasant. And then she ran over here.
I see him. He's chasing Dorina. We need to follow their traces.
She's running and talking to someone. Boom. A blow. A stunning blow.
What was Darina stunned with? What was it?
Something heavy. It's something wooden.
Like a club.
There's really a bloodied club among the evidence.
Most probably, the murderer didn't prepare for the crime. He spontaneously broke a branch from a tree while he was chasing the victim from the cafe, as the psychics assume.
She's talking to someone she loves. Do you see?
They met recently.
I don't understand. Was she talking to him? Did he kill her?
She was talking to him on the phone. The boy wasn't here.
The police found out who Darina was talking to on the phone in the last minutes of her life. The young man's name is Dimitro. She phoned him at about 2 in the morning. Then he was at home in the town.
I hear some rustling, like the phone is being put in a pocket. And then some male voices.
According to Dimitro, he was speaking to Darina all the time while she was walking from the cafe. But then she suddenly stopped talking. He heard rustling, as if someone put her phone in their pocket. Then Dimitro heard a male voice in the background, but the next moment, the call ended. After that, he couldn't reach Darina. Her phone was off.
Do you see the blood? The blood's dripping. It looks like he was dragging her.
Over here. This is where she was found. This was her pose.
Yes, it's right.
This is where the murderer raped your daughter.
Her pants were pulled down and her sweater seemed to be pulled up. I couldn't bear looking at it.
It was terrible. But I saw the murderer enjoyed the process. Besides, it wasn't his first time. There was another young girl he raped.
It's impossible to comprehend. But who is this beast? Is there really a serial killer roaming in the area?
Kayal, wait, what does it mean? Did another murder happen at the same time?
If I'm not mistaken, she was a lawyer. That woman, that is. She was a little older, but she was also
raped and murdered.
I don't feel a connection between these two crimes. In the case you're talking about, the justice prevailed. The murderers are most probably in prison.
There were 3 murderers. They were arrested a few days after the crime. However, there was no evidence that they could have also killed Darina.
I see her. I see Darina. She's gray-haired. She's all gray.
The forensic examination confirmed that her hair was gray. Such a drastic change in hair color is only possible as a result of powerful fright or stress.
Her spirit is telling me, you will find the trace where the final drop of the blood fell. I think I understand what it means. The bloody trace leads there. It seems we found his trace. He stopped over here. He gets in a vehicle.
It's a car. He got into it. Its front lights are like those of a Lada Samara. They're square.
We need to find out where he drove. We can't lose the trace. We need to go there.
The clairvoyants and Darina's parents get in the van. The locals follow them in their vehicles. Will the psychics really find the murderer?
Pull over here. I see the man used to wear epaulets on his shoulders.
This is something unimaginable. Was Darina really raped and murdered by a policeman?
He got out of the car and ran somewhere. Just a moment. I'm recalling the cue from my dream. Blood on the document will show the way to the murderer. We need to go there. Some kind of document was lying here. and your Darina's blood was on it.
At the site, the psychics found the police had indeed found a receipt from the kindergarten. The receipt bore the name of the local resident, the 50-year-old Serhii Mariuka, a former highway patrol officer. The document was covered in blood, which, according to the forensics, was Darina's.
The man went there.
Nobody opens the door. Hearing the noise, the neighbor comes out to see what's going on.
Hello, we're the experts from Psychic Investigations. We would like to see your neighbors, but they seem to be absent.
I saw them recently. Serhii's wife went to the school and then to the kindergarten. They took their belongings and documents.
There's one school and one kindergarten in the village. Everybody knows one another. So when the family left the village, the suspicion fell upon them.
Darina's blood. And her trace is here. I feel it like it's on something white. Probably tiles or something. It's something white.
The police searched the apartment in which Serhii Mariuka's family lived, and they really found blood on the rim of the bathtub. And again, the forensics found the blood was Darina Yakovtsova's.
The victim's blood couldn't have appeared in the apartment itself. This is a solid proof that one of its residents is involved in Darina's murder.
I see that on that night, not only an adult man, but also a youth ran into the apartment. They were both bloodied. The younger man murdered her. He'd been at the cafe and danced with Darina, and then he followed her and took her life brutally.
Anatoly, Serhii Mariuka's 17-year-old son, a student of the local school, indeed courted Darina at the cafe that night. According to the witnesses, he was drunk and behaved provocatively.
The young man claimed he'd seen Darina on the highway. He stated that she had been struck by a vehicle and he attempted to revive her, and only after he came back home, he realized he was covered in blood and tried to wash it off, hence the blood stains on the bathtub.
The version is barely credible. No injuries on the victim's body suggest that she was hit by a vehicle.
The boy dials someone. This is his father. The man arrives at the highway where we were, and he picks up his son. He shouts at him, but he quickly hides him before somebody sees him.
We found the witnesses who heard Serhii Mariuka start his car, the gray Lada, at around 3 in the morning on the 15th of February.
They first went home, to this apartment, where the boy washed off the victim's blood, and then they went somewhere far away from here. The adult man isn't the murderer, it's his son. The father splattered the receipt with blood while attempting to save his son.
According to the locals, Anatoly Mariuka disappeared from the village after the first interrogation by the police. Nobody knows where he could be.
I saw the father help him burn his clothes, which were stained with blood. As a former police officer, the man knew well what had to be done.
Many people saw Anatoly Mariuka at the cafe before the murder. They all claimed the youth was wearing a blue and yellow bubble coat, which he never wore after the tragedy.
The police searched the suspect's apartment, but they didn't find the coat that, according to the witnesses, Anatoly Mariuka was wearing on the night of the murder.
But if Anatoly is innocent, then why is he doing his best to conceal his bloodied clothes from the law enforcers?
They escaped, but I feel that the woman, the boy's mother, is nearby.
She's staying at her mother's in the neighboring village.
The psychics and the victim's parents go to the neighboring village, where, according to the locals, the boy's mother is staying.
Is anybody home? Tell us, please, are you Serhii's wife?
Yes.
What's your name?
Olga.
I only want to ask you one question. Where are your son and husband?
I don't know.
If your son is innocent, then why is he hiding?
He kept telling me he was innocent. What else can I say?
He came home all bloodied. Are you not ashamed of lying?
What do you mean bloodied? You see, I checked his coat and his pants.
What coat? What color was it?
There was nothing on them. I saw them with my own eyes. I'm telling you, this was what I saw.
This is incredible. The woman appears to have just offered an unintentional confession. As it turned out, at the interrogation, her son claimed he'd worn a leather jacket that night.
He told me he was innocent, I swear.
I'm sorry, but the police found bloodstains at your home.
2 tiny drops.
But the blood was Darina's.
I don't know its origin. Do you understand?
You're covering up the murderer. Shame on you.
You won't tell us the truth, but I feel that your husband is the man with the fire on his leg who's hiding the beast. This was what Darina's spirit tried to tell me. The man with the fire on his leg hiding the beast was Serhiy, Anatoly's father. I felt that he had a burn scar on his leg.
We managed to talk to Serhiy and Anatoly's relatives. It turned out the man really has a burn mark on his leg.
He has a burnt scar on his leg. It's huge.
I was shocked by the schoolboy's cruelty. I have a feeling it wasn't the first time when his parents were hiding his crimes. He frequently transgressed the boundaries of morality. But what's worst of all is that, apart from Darina, he also had another victim, another girl he raped. It happened before he murdered Darina, but that girl was lucky to survive.
He's been a thief since he was little. He stole people's bicycles and other things. The last thing he stole was a scooter, and then he raped the girl.
They forgave him many things, and so it snowballed little by little.
I am sorry for what my son did. If he truly did it, he will be punished. Either by prison or by forces from above. He will be punished.
I don't want the punishment from above. I need it here and now. Tell me, where is he?
I don't know.
Anatoly Maryuka's mother never confessed where her son was hiding.
I feel he's in one of the neighboring countries. Most probably Russia. Yes, he's in Russia. I see that the murderer will be found. He will certainly be punished.
Thank you so much for the work you did.
You gave us a ray of hope. I truly want him to be found and face trial.
It's hard to believe, but Anatoly Maryuka was arrested 2 months after the investigation. The psychics were right when they said the man was hiding in the Russian city of Ryazan. He's currently facing a lengthy sentence for the crime he committed.